Hi, and welcome to the Your Good News podcast with me, Katherine Getty. It's easy to believe the news around us that the world is dark and the future is the same. But what if we chose something different? What if we chose to find the good news in each day? This podcast is a collection of interviews with friends, mentors, colleagues on their good news. From business to health to politics and everything in between, it's my hope that you leave with a boost and find your good news. Welcome back to another episode of the Your Good News podcast. This is your host, Katherine Getty. As we begin each episode, let's delve into a dose of good news. This week, my good news is understanding the value of rest. In a culture and a society that values fast, I've recently been trying to listen to my body and resting when I need it and not feeling guilty for it. It's hard. It is really, really hard. And I don't always succeed in taking the needed rest or not feeling guilty for it. But I offer up the idea that rest isn't the enemy. Rather, that old friend we need to catch up with a bit more. So this year, I posited that it was easy to believe the news around us, that our world is dark and that the future is the same. But I said, what if we chose something different? What if we chose to find the good news in each day? This podcast, the Your Good News podcast, is and continues to be a collection of friends, mentors, colleagues, and now even myself on good news. If you haven't yet, tune into last week's Year in Review, episode 27, for a short recap of some messages that stood out for me. But I do want to highlight the amazing guests from this year and lay out a vision for next year for the Your Good News podcast. This year, I've had guests from my nephew to fitness and wellness influencers to teachers and politicos. I've had Capitol police officers to entrepreneurs to real estate gurus. The through line has been each person has their slice of good news and they shine it. Now, these guests have talked about how it isn't always easy, and sometimes it's damn near impossible, but it is the choice for a happier life in the long term. I encourage you to take some time, head back, and listen to another episode, something or someone that stands out to you. With these guests in mind, are there people in your life that shine bright, that highlight the good to you? I suggest maybe tell them how much they mean to you. Probably don't do that enough. Are there ways that you can also highlight your own slice of good? I encourage you to do that. Now, I want to lay out a vision for 2022 for the podcast moving forward. The growth, the change that this podcast has seen this year has been inspiring. I have a vision for 2022 to make the podcast even more accessible to folks. I hope to shine even more lights on the good around us because I truly believe that finding the good, the gratefulness for the bright spots, change our attitude, change the way we show up for ourselves, and change the way we show up for those around us. If you have someone that you think I need to interview, reach out. My Instagram is @Katherine Getty or email me at support@yourgoodnewspodcast.com. Don't worry, I'll put this all in the show notes. I just thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you for joining the Your Good News podcast. Like I say every single week, if you liked, please share, subscribe, leave a review, and join us next week for another episode of the Your Good News podcast.